Thanks for tuning in to another video. I am Stacy, the creator of Twisted Kinks Crochet, and today I'm going to give you an update on the spider lace blanket. We're going to have a little book talk, and then I'll show you a little bit more about these hand sanitizer holders. I featured this in my last video, 10 things that you can do in about an hour. This was an idea that was something that I came up with, and so I'm just going to show you how I do it. I know I explained it in the last video, but we'll just show you in process. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, let's get started. Let's start with Never Never by Colleen Hoover and Taryn Fisher. I've never read either one of these authors before. This was a book I picked up from Ollie's. Occasionally I'll go on Ollie's and look specifically for books and yarn. And this one jumped out at me because of the spray and the colors. Then when I read the synopsis, I was like, okay, this sounds good. Charlie Winwood and Silas Nash have been best friends since they could walk. They've been in love since the age of 14, but as of this morning, they are complete strangers. Their first kiss, their first fight, the moment they fell in love, every memory has vanished. Now, Charlie and Silas must work together to uncover the truth about what happened to them and why. But the more they learn about the couple they used to be, the more they question why they were ever together to begin with. Forgetting is terrifying, but remembering might be worse. So that completely drew me in. It's a cute story. So you have to keep in mind they are 14 years old, which made some of this a little uncomfortable to read, to be honest, because the authors described some intimate moments that just felt icky, for lack of a better term, for, at the point in this book, they are 17, 18. But it still just felt wrong for the scenes to be so descriptive for teenagers. But the book itself was really good. So they wake up. I say wake up because they're in school, but they don't remember. When the book starts, they just like come to. And they are both very stunned. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they are. They don't know the people around them. And they have to use clues from the people that are around them to try to figure out, who they are. Then they find out, because they wake up separately in different places. And then the next period, because they're in school, so the next period is their lunch hour. And through the clues, they realize, okay, we sit at this table with these friends, because they're being dragged along by friends. And the two seats that are empty must be ours, so we must be a couple. And then they start to try to figure this out. They try to, first of all, understand what's happened to them, that they don't have the memories, and then try to figure out who they are as individuals and then ultimately as a couple. So as the book progresses, we find out that this isn't the first time that this happened to them. It happened to them 48 hours prior. So whatever is going on, it repeats itself every 48 hours. So they work together throughout this book to figure all of this out. There are some other storylines that makes this a little complex, like the fact that, as the synopsis says, they've known each other forever. Their families have been friends. They vacationed together. Their fathers were partners in business together. So they find out that some things went on with the parents, with the fathers, that made it difficult for them to stay in a relationship. And as they go through the clues, and they can't tell anybody what's actually going on, because who's going to believe them that they just woke up and have no memory of who they are, how they got there, what their lives are. So it is a cute story of how these two find their way back to love and remembering who they are individually and who they are as a couple, and then understanding what happened to their families along the way. I would definitely recommend this book. It was a page turner because for me, I wanted to know, how the next person was going to react. How were they going to pull this off by not telling, their family members, their friends, that they really don't know who they are, let alone who the friends and family are. So a page turner for sure. Very interesting. The only thing that I would say about this is that it just felt wrong for some of the intimate moments to be so descriptive and so mature. But otherwise, I think it's a great book. It was a great concept. Every 48 hours, you wake up and you forget what you learned in the past 48 hours, and you forget who you were even before that. And then how they ended up figuring out what happened to them. Now, I did read some reviews where people were saying, never pick this book up. Oh, after reading this book, I never figured out what happened to them and why. I think I figured it out and I won't give it away. But if you pick the book up, please come back to this video and leave in the comments if you figured out what happened to them and why. It wasn't bold and in your face as a reason, but it was there if you paid attention. Yeah, so I mean that's it. I love this book. I love the whole concept of it and would definitely recommend this book. Young adult, it's mystery. And if those are your genres, or if you just, want to try something that is a little fun to read, then I would definitely suggest you pick this book up. Never Never, Colleen Hoover and Taryn Fisher. And that is my book talk. So let me give you a quick update on the spider lace blanket. This is my progress so far. 4 rows or 4, because this is done in rotations of 4 rows. So you rotate after the 4th row, you start back up with the first row through 4. It's actually rows of the pattern, rows 2 through 5, but it's those 4 rows. And so I did 4 rotations of the purple, 4 rotations of the orange. I went into black with 4 rotations, and now I'm going into this gold color. This pattern, I went through this in another video. Let me show you first. See if you can see the spider as the light goes through this pattern, goes through this project. You can kind of see how the spider is made, right? I went through this pattern in a previous video showing how it's worked. And I thought it was an easy pattern, and I still think it's an easy pattern. You're using single crochets, chains, double crochets. That's it. And you definitely have to pay attention to the row that you're on. But rows 2 and 4 are basically the same. Rows 3 and 5 are basically the same. So it's really not hard, but you definitely have to pay attention to the rows that you're on. And what I ended up doing to make sure was every time I started the row repeat over again, I tagged that row. So this is the first row of the 4-row repeat. So that helped me to stay on track. It took me probably halfway through the orange section to really get the pattern down where, okay, I know what row I'm on once I have this marked. But even with that, I know what row I'm on. I know what I need to do at the beginning and the end, because that's where the pattern changes a little bit for those rows. So now that I'm in a rhythm, I probably could go a little bit faster. You can see I haven't done much work on it, but that's because, I'm doing all kinds of other things. I'm reading, I'm working, and trying to do other small projects in between. So now that I'm in a rhythm with this, I do think that I can get more work and get it done a lot faster. But this is the progress, and I'm using that purple, orange, black. I thought spider lace would go good with these colors because these colors are like a secondary Halloween theme. So I thought that would be cute. And I'm hoping to be able to get this one done by the end of next week. So in 2 weeks, hopefully I'll be able to get this done. And this will be another blanket that'll go to donation. If you want to know more about this pattern, I will link the video that I did, which detailed the steps to make this. I'll link that in the description box. And you can go check that out. So let's move along to the hand sanitizer covers. So as I said in the intro, I did a video, which I will also link in the description box, where I featured 10 items that you can do in about an hour, give or take. And the hand sanitizer holder was one of them. So I had this sitting on my dresser, and I thought I should make a little holder for this, because I know that'll take less than an hour. After that, I thought that would be a good idea for like Christmas gifts or just random acts. These are coming from the Dollar Tree. This little bit of yarn is nothing when it comes to a skein. You can do these, put them in a bag. Let me see if I can find my bags. So I keep these bags, and they have a little sticker that says a free gift for you. When I did some other random acts of crochet kindness, I put them in the Ziploc bag sticker on it, and I just dropped them off. So I did like little coffee cups, the Angie cups that's in that video from the last week. I did pumpkins. I did little worry worms. So anyway, and I just put them in these bags. And when I was out and about, I would just drop them off somewhere. So I thought this would be a great idea to do these hand sanitizers, very inexpensive, $1.25. And then a little less than an hour of your time and hardly any yarn. And then you just take these off like doctor's offices, stores, just anywhere, drop them off, and boom, people have a little hand sanitizer, nice smelling with a cute little holder. So I started doing more of them, and I tried to see how many different variations I could do. These are done with all different types of yarns. So the pattern, which I'll go through in a little bit, changes depending on the type of yarn that you use. So this just chenille, same concept, but the number of the number of your starting chain is different for me on this. This is using Hobby Lobby's I Love This Yarn. And then I had some white left over, and I just put a little checkerboard design around it because this has the checkerboard design at the top. I was just trying to see how many different variations and different ways I could do this. And for the top of this one, I didn't do any type of design. I just finished it off with the single crochets, did a little hook handle, and that was it. On this one, I did slip stitches around the top, so that gave it a little bit of a seam, a little bit of a finished off, polished look. For this one, this is also Hobby Lobby's I Love This Yarn, and I just did 2 shell stitches, 2 shells on the front and the back, and did a little handle. Again, you can, make a put a keychain on it, and then it can be clipped to your book bag, your purse. You can hang it in your car or put it in the compartment of your car. This one I did very similar to the one that I did in the video, and I just did picot stitches around the top of it to give it a little frill. And then this one did not have a handle, and I did a little heart, and this heart is another item that I featured in that 10 items video, and I used fabric glue to glue it onto the top, glue it onto the front of this. No handle, drop it in your purse, put it in your car, and I did slip stitches around the top of this. This one, I did the rope stitch. And so this is just doing single crochets backwards. And that's how I did that. And I think I will take all of these and, drop them off when I go to different different places. This one though, I'm keeping for myself because I like this one with the little heart on it. This one is going over here because I'm keeping that for myself. But the other ones I will put in the Ziploc bag, go drop them off random places, and hope that people enjoy them. Let's get all this stuff off the table and then I'll show you. It's real quick. It's one of the easiest patterns you will ever find. Trust me on that. So this is what you'll need. I'm going to use Premier Just Yarn from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use a 5.5 millimeter hook. I have my hand sanitizer for reference, obviously the scissors. So the first thing that I'm going to do is chain 8. This is how I started the original one that I did, and that was using Red Hearts yarn. So we'll see if that also does the same thing that I needed to do for this. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I just want to make sure that that's going to fit the length, the bottom of my hand sanitizer. And remember, you have some stretch, so it's great. Okay, then I'm going to chain one more because I want the 8 stitches. I'm going to go into the second chain from the hook, so I need to chain 1 and then go into the second chain from the hook to keep my 8. Most projects I do, I single crochet in the back bumps to start my project off. In the back bumps. But I'm not going to do that with this one because I need to work around both sides of this chain. So I need to come down this side and then come back up this side. So I'm going to start with a chain of 9. So there's my 9. You go into the second chain from the hook and you do 2 single crochets. Then you do 1 single crochet for the next 6 stitches. And that's 6. This last stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets in this stitch. Then we're going to come around the back side of our chain and we're going to work in the back side of the stitches. So we're going to do single crochets here. So in this first one, do 2 more because we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do 2 single crochets on the opposite side of that last stitch. Then we're going to do a single crochet in the next 6. It's 1, 2. You can see hopefully where I'm going here. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you'll do 2 in that last stitch. So now we have 4 single crochets at the end, at each end which will then start to go, when we keep going around, it'll go up to make the sides. So we should have 20 stitches at this point. And we have 20. I do not join the row. I just continue to do single crochets around. You should have 20 single crochets every time you get back to the start. What you can do is just do a little stitch marker in that first stitch so that you know, okay, this is where my row ends and begins. So I should have 20 around. So I'm going to go ahead and do my first single crochet in this stitch and then mark it. So then you're just going to do a single crochet in every stitch until you get the height that you want it to be. This project is so very beginner friendly. It's so very forgiving. Once you get to the top and you make your finishing row, whether it is a picot stitch or slip stitches, like nobody is going to look at that and be able to tell, oh, this doesn't look the same on both sides. Not true. It will. It'll look just fine. All right. And that's it. You'll go around. If you're using a stitch marker to make sure you have 20 stitches, then remove it and place it in the first stitch and then keep going around and around. Now I suggest about 10 rows and you will see the sides start to build up. You can see it already. The sides are starting to build up. So I suggest about 10 rows and you can fit it along the way to make sure that you have enough height or the height that you want it to be. I'm going to fit it so you can see it's starting to build up here and then it's starting to build up around the sides. So you can make it and have it stop here. So this is showing, this could be a different color. You can make it go all the way up and then put a border around it. I'm going to go all the way up and then I'll show you how to do the picot stitch because that's what I did in the original video. And then we'll be done with it. I think it would be cute to do some that just stop here. And then you have this showing, but you wouldn't be able to put a chain, a keychain or something. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's just keep going until we get all the way to the top. And then I'll show you how to do the picot stitch. So I've done about 3 rows. So far I'm coming back around, but I did want to show you because this is the way it looks when we first start, when we first started. So you'll want to turn it. This is the right side. So after you get a couple rows in, you'll start to see you're working from the inside of the project, right? So what you want to do is to turn it, and that is your right side. So I just took that stitch marker out. I'm going to put my beginning and then put my stitch marker back. And this is another reason that I don't like using stitch markers because it takes up time to take it out, put the stitch in, put it back, clamp it so it doesn't fall out. I don't want to do all of that. So turn it on the right side and then keep going. Now you're working from the outside of the project instead of from the inside of the project. Anyway, this is how it looks if you decide just to stop at the reservoir part and get to the colored part. But let's keep going. So that's 9, maybe 5 more rows. So that'd be 14 total rows to get to the top. Let's do it. So this is 4 more rows. And I'm stopping here because the picot stitch is going to give it a little more height and I don't want it to cover completely over the top. So let me show you how the picot stitch works. I'm going to take my stitch marker out. I don't need that anymore. And I'm going to single crochet in this stitch. I'm going to chain 2. Now, think typically your picot stitch is a chain 3, and then you go back into the same stitch, but I'm only going to do chain 2. So no perfect way, except the way that's perfect for you. I don't want it to be that high. So I'm only going to do a chain 2, and then you go back into the stitch that you were working in, that single crochet is in, and you are just going to slip stitch. And that creates a little peak, a little picot. And then slip stitch in the next stitch, and then single crochet in the next, chain 2, slip stitch back in that same stitch that you did the single crochet. That creates your next peak or picot. And then repeat that all the way around. Slip stitch in the next, single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch in the same stitch as the single crochet, slip stitch in the next, single crochet in the next, chain 2, slip stitch, slip stitch in the next, and just do that until you get back to your beginning. So I've gone all the way around with my picots. I'm down to my last few stitches. So I've already done a slip stitch in that. So I need to do a single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch back into that stitch, and then I need to slip stitch in the next. So this is what it's looking like currently. So this is the way it stands. So I think I want to do my hook from here to here. So I just need to slip stitch over into this space that's created where you do the picot. Let me slip stitch here and then slip stitch in my picot and then chain, let's say 5, and then slip stitch into that next picot. So that'll be my little hook if I want to put it on a keychain, and that'll be the topper for my hand sanitizer. And now we can just I like to chain 2 when I'm getting ready to fasten off. So I'm going to chain 2, cut the work, leaving a long enough tail to sew in. I'm going to pull that out, and then I'm just going to take these 2 stitches and slide them down to lock in that stitch. And now I have a hand sanitizer holder that has the picot stitches and a little handle that I can put on a keychain if I so choose. Y'all want to do one more thing? Let's do a heart and put it on this one and call it a day. I decided to use this darker green, and what we want to do is this knot chain 4, close up your circle by doing a slip stitch to your first stitch, and then we're going to work inside that circle. So inside the circle that we created by chain 4 and attaching. Do 3 treble crochets. So yarn over twice, go through your circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. This yarn is not the best for this because it is fraying, but don't worry. You do another treble crochet. So yarn over twice through the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Do that one more time. Now do 3 double crochets. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 and 2. In the circle, what happened there? Yarn over, go in the circle, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. Now chain 1 and do a treble. This is going to be, that's 1/2 of our heart. We're going to do a treble. That's going to be the peak at the bottom. So treble, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through the last 2. Let's chain 1. Now we're going to do that all over again, but in reverse. So 3 doubles and then 3 trebles. 1 double, 2 double, 3 double, and then do 3 trebles. Yarn over 2 times, go in your circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2. Do that 2 more times. Yarn over, pull through 2 more, the last 2. Yarn over twice, in the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 2, and then the last 2. And then we will just do a slip stitch in that circle. So yarn over, nope, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through the loop that's on the hook. And there is our little heart. And then we'll just take some fabric glue and glue it on there. But you can also sew it on there if you so choose. Let me do this. Chain 2. Cut it. Pull it through. Take those 2. Slide them down. I'm going to cut off the excess. All that I don't need. Easy peasy. Does not require a lot. Place it where you want to place it. Give this a little time to dry, but I just want to show you. Now this is our starting chain. I just need to pull that back through. Let me do that. Let me pull this through and I'll sew that in, but just for the demonstration purposes, we are done. We are done. I hope that you enjoyed this simple, easy, beginner friendly, very forgiving, inexpensive project. Well, I guess that is it for this week's video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around and spending a little bit of your day with me today. We talked about Never Never by Colleen Hoover and Taryn Fisher. Cute book. Love the concept. I thought it was executed well. And the ending, which I did not talk about, left me hopeful. And that's all I will say about that. If you read it, please leave in the comments if you figured out what caused them to lose their memory. If you plan on reading it, please come back once you have and let me know what you figured out, because I would love to know if it agrees with what I figured out. We talked about the spider lace blanket. I will link the video that I did that talked about the steps to creating this, and then I'll come back in the next week or so with an update on where I am. But, you know, it's a quick, easy pattern, but you have to get into the rhythm of the rows to make it work faster, if that makes sense. And so I think I'm in the rhythm, and I should be able to have much more progress in the next couple of weeks. We talked about the hand sanitizer holders. Grab some from Dollar Tree, get you some scrap yarn. We did the demonstration showing how to create this look. I gave options on how to finish it off, and then we finished this one off just by putting a heart, which again, you can do so many other embellishments or personalizations by putting letters or flowers or just anything. I have bagged up the ones that I've already made, and I will bag this one up as well, to just drop off in random places. Random acts of crochet kindness is what it's called. So I'll do that with these. And then once I create the holder for those, I'll do the same. Great gift ideas. Christmas is coming. So if you're starting to do Christmas stuff, maybe you want to add that to your list of things to create. So, that's it. That does it for what we talked about today. Again, thank you so much for hanging with me. Thank you to all the new subscribers, and I will meet you all back here in the next video. Bye.